Hey there, I'm Talia, founder of Warp Week Lunch, where we are all about helping you master meal prep to get more out of life. If you're new here, welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about 5 ways intuitive eating can work with meal prep and meal planning. Let's get to it. All right, so if you don't know what intuitive eating is, I recommend watching our most watched video, which is where I'm breaking down the intuitive eating principles. But the overview, if you don't have time to go back to watch it, is it's a way of eating that involves trusting your intuition and not external food rules to make food decisions. It does not align with weight loss. You can't eat intuitively and try to lose weight. It is aligned with nourishing yourself, making sure that you eat enough, and focusing on the foods that make you feel good mentally and physically and emotionally. It rejects the idea that you have to be thin to be healthy, and I personally just think it aligns really well with meal prep, which, like I said earlier, it helps you get more out of life. With intuitive eating, you don't spend so much time overthinking every single food decision because you trust yourself. And I love talking about intuitive eating on this channel, and I have a couple other videos I'll link below if you're interested in hearing more. And in the comments, if there's any other topic you want me to go into with intuitive eating, please let me know. Just remember that I'm not a dietitian or a certified expert in this. I've just read pretty much every book, and it's something I talk about a lot with my community. I'm just a really huge advocate for it and well-read on the subject. Getting into the meat of it, 5 ways intuitive eating can work with meal planning and meal prepping. At first glance, you might think, okay, intuitive eating is not eat whatever you want, whenever you want. No, you can't do that. I mean, who do you know with a personal chef and access to every food that you could possibly want? Maybe celebrities? It's just not realistic for most of us, or practical or anything. So no, intuitive eating is not eating whatever you want, whenever you want. There are other factors that I think about when eating. As an intuitive eater, I think about what's accessible, what do I have in my kitchen, what makes sense to eat right now, what am I doing later in the day, right? Like, am I going on a big hike? Am I just chilling out? Like, how much food am I going to need? How long will I be out of the house when food won't be available to me necessarily? There are other, it's like a lot of practical stuff that I think about when it comes to making sure that I'm satisfied, fed, I'm energized, because food is energy, you know? Those are the things that I think about with intuitive eating. It's not just, I'm craving potato chips for breakfast, I'm gonna eat potato chips. Although, that is fine. If you wanna eat potato chips for breakfast, by all means, go ahead. No one's stopping you. I also love intuitive eating because it takes away the black and white thinking around food. So there's no good food or bad food, it's just food. With all that in mind, I'm excited to share how it can work with meal planning, because I've been practicing this for a few years, and putting the 2 things together has helped me so much in life. I don't worry about food, I don't stress about food, and that part of that is just, I'm lucky in that way. Like, I'm lucky to be able to put food on my own table, and I don't worry about access to food. But on top of that, I don't worry about every bite going into my mouth. Is it healthy? Is it not healthy? Is it this? Is it that? It's just, this is what I'm having right now, and I'm good with it. The first way intuitive eating works with meal planning. Don't plan every meal, right? Planning out every single meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, is extremely rigid. Intuitive eating, you need some room for those cravings, for some flexibility, while also knowing the fact that having too much flexibility can be really stressful, actually. Haven't you ever had one of those situations where it's Thursday night, you want to get takeout, and every option is available and you don't know what you want, and making the decision just feels exhausting? That's where meal planning can actually help make those decisions less exhausting. And when you have a more flexible meal plan, and what I really literally mean by this is, let's just say you have 21 meals in a week, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week. You plan 10 to 12 of them, right? That's about half, and that's fine. The rest you just have open for whatever you want and whatever you can have access to. When you have a flexible meal plan, sticking to it doesn't mean you are a success, and not sticking to it doesn't mean you failed, right? That thinking is gone with intuitive eating. You don't think like that about food. There's no, oh, I was good today or I was bad today. It's just, this is how my week played out. You're human. Like, we can't control everything. Things come up, which is another reason why I recommend not planning every meal, because then you won't feel guilty if your friend wants to go to happy hour, or if you got stuck in traffic and had to pick up something on the way home because you couldn't cook dinner, whatever, things happen. And not planning every meal is a really, really good balance between being too rigid and being too flexible. Both are really stressful. Find that happy medium. 2, You can meal plan your struggle meals. So what are struggle meals? These are the meals that you end up skipping, forgetting about, or just being too impatient to deal with. So that could be like you like to sleep in, so you don't eat breakfast, then by 11 o'clock you're just so hangry. Or maybe for me it was lunch. I just hated that feeling of like I'd be in the swing of work and then I have to stop everything because I needed to figure out what to eat. That did not work for me. I loved with meal prep, I just opened the fridge, get my meal, eat it, back to work. My focus, was much better when I didn't have to just sit down and be like, what do I want? Some people like it, it just wasn't for me. Maybe snacks are where you struggle. Maybe it's dinner, whatever it is for you. Think about the meals where you get to that meal and it's just like, ugh, what do I do? Those are the meals that you plan, because then you just open your meal plan and it's like, oh, I'm having fajitas, or oh, I have this breakfast burrito in the freezer that I want to do. So that is where meal planning can really help you and just kind of give you some of that stress relief, The third way meal planning and intuitive eating can work is you can meal plan flexible meals. So there are two ways to do this. The first way is doing freezer-friendly meals. So that means that you can make a batch of soup, and if you're not feeling it one day and you want to do something else, you have the chance to put it in the freezer and no food is wasted, and then future you will get to enjoy that delicious soup. The other way to do this is called a buffet meal prep. So that's when you prep elements of meals. I have a couple videos on TikTok for this. And then so you prep basically like a thing of quinoa, a thing of broccoli, a thing of chicken, and you kind of like decide how you're gonna put that together in the moment. That way you're not stuck with, oh, I have to eat these tacos, or I have to eat this sheet pan meal. You can do whatever you want with what you've already kind of half cooked. So those are two ways you can prep food ahead of time and not lock yourself in to eating one kind of thing that you're not going to be in the mood for, because part of intuitive eating is allowing that space for eating based on what you're in the mood for. And between you and me, I'm usually not in the mood to have to decide what to eat, so I generally just eat what's in the fridge and I don't want to have to deal with it. So that's why for me, I don't really care as much. I don't really eat based on my food mood that often. The fourth way that intuitive eating and meal planning can work is use curiosity instead of judgment when things go wrong. So yes, there will be times that you meal prep or plan and it just completely goes out the window, or you're just so not in the mood for anything you make. I know for me, if I have an emotional week, I'm just not in the mood for anything I've made and I just end up eating cereal. That's okay. Approach these situations with curiosity and not judgment, guilt, shame, or rigid thinking. You're not a failure, right? So the curiosity piece is, okay, what happened? Why did this go wrong? And what can I do better next time? That's all it is. It's just asking yourself that question of okay, what happened here and how can I avoid it next time? How can I improve this? How can I meet my needs better next time? How can I anticipate this next time? That's a tool I find really helpful. It's like a more positive way of approaching when things go wrong, because they will. You will cook things in your life that won't taste good and you will want to throw it out. That's just the nature of the game. That's just cooking, and that's just how cooking is sometimes. The fifth way meal planning and intuitive eating work together is that meal planning is a tool to anticipate your needs. And that aligns so well with intuitive eating, which is all about meeting your own needs physically with food, right? Like making sure you're satisfied, eating enough. So you're going to be hungry. We are human. If there's anything we can count on in life, it is the fact that you're gonna need to eat today, tomorrow, and the next day, and so on. So knowing that information, how can you make those moments where you sit down and need to eat a meal easier, more seamless? And that's where meal planning comes in. So these are the ways I love to use intuitive eating and meal planning together. I hope this helped you kind of reframe meal planning in your head. If previously you used meal planning for dieting, these 5 tips have nothing to do with restriction, weight loss. They just have everything to do with making your life easier, anticipating your own needs, and being flexible, understanding that you're human, you're not a robot. You're going to have days where you're in the mood for one thing and not the other thing. I will plug here, our meal plans in the Work Week Lunch Meal Prep Program are aligned with intuitive eating. Everything I just discussed is something that we keep in mind when we're designing our meal plans and the entire program. So you can learn more about that in my bio. in the description, not the file link, the description, we have a free trial you can check out. We have hundreds of recipes, over probably around 100 meal plans at this point to choose from, and you can create your own meal plans and instant grocery lists with our program. So go check that out if you need a little bit of structure, but you don't want to get trapped into another diet. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, or if you want to see more meal prep videos from us. Hang out with us, we are great. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this. Happy to go deeper into these topics as I make more videos about intuitive eating. And I'll see you next time. Bye.